Greetings, geeks. Welcome to 802 episode Geeks in Space, oldest podcast, internet. I'm Rob Commander Tacomalda. And I am here.
Podcast internet.
And I am here today with Chris DeBona.
Hi.
And Rose Boom Robert.
Hello, me.
Words complicated, thinking difficult.
Well, they say, like, if you read something, the order of your words isn't really that important as long as the first couple and last couple are correct.
Totally.
Yeah, I have two that read.
It's the same thing with words, right? The letters in the words don't really matter all that much. It's just it's the order. It's the first and last, and you can kind of mix up the words and the letters in the middle, and nobody notices.
Maybe that's why we available misspelled.
That's possible.
Yeah.
How's everybody been for the last besides the power outages for
I can't believe
2/3 of us
going through. Holy shit! It's like, yeah, I'm outraged for you. I know that you have a lot of outrage.
67 hours I did not have running water, electricity, or cell phone coverage.
I mean,
You're doing great.
Yeah.
I mean,
And-
that's apocalyptic issue.
Yeah.
You know.
Luckily, it was super easy for me to get out of the house and do everything I needed to
Right.
get water and stuff.
Right, you're super mobile.
Yeah.
So you ready for the ultimate first world bitch?
Yes.
Because we didn't actually lose power for like the first 12 hours of the outage. We were just having total brownouts, like really bad brownouts. So my generator kept flipping on and off, and so every time my generator flipped on, everything in my house resets. All of the lights like went back to their regular brightness. But like,
oh,
I know.
You had problems
All
with
of
your
the-
generator resetting. Your
all
settings?
of my computers, which are on batteries, like do that really loud. You know that ka-chunk when your UPS takes over from the power switch over and over again.
I'm surprised you could do the podcast today.
I know, like the recovery was really
Really?
difficult. It was really difficult.
You should import hugs from Europe or something.
yeah.
You know.
I will say
You know what? You know what I have to say about that? You're so brave.
I know I'm
You're
brave
so brave.
to put up with all of this. The thing that's stunning to me is if you would have told me, so we only got this generator a couple of months ago. We've already used it for like 110 hours. That's how bad our grid is.
You know, I got to tell you, if it wasn't for those EcoFlow generators, I don't know what I would have done.
Yeah.
Because it was the only way I could keep I didn't have cell coverage very reliably, but I could call occasionally. Like I called my neighbor to open up my garage door to let me out because I needed water. Yeah,
Jesus.
so those work great. The diesel one, I should get an electrician to come and wire it to my well pump because that would have been, that would have saved me the first day. The next 2 days, I'd still be screwed, but at least I'd have a day worth of water.
You
that
have
I
a
could
diesel generator?
accumulate and catch, right? That EcoFlow runs on diesel and gas and
It
propane.
runs on diesel and gas?
I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
I know it ran on gas and propane. Wow. That's cool.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it ran on diesel too, but maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Well, the good
Get one of
news.
those transfer switches, and put your pump on it.
Well, that was actually what ended up happening at our house is that we actually had to remove the transfer switch. We had to flip it because we were getting so many brownouts that we just had to flip it to the generator. And then like 2 hours after we flipped it, then the whole neighborhood finally went out entirely for like 24 hours.
Wow. You're so brave.
I know. and during that time, my garage door opened and I had water.
Yeah, there's a point, Rob,
Sorry,
where people
Rob.
stop, loving you
I know.
and stop
You're
making jokes
treading on
about how
dangerous
brave
ground.
you are.
You know,
Yeah.
like I'm going to see you in person in a few hours, right?
Yeah, that's my plan.
Yeah.
And you're going to punch me in the stomach.
Getting slightly more punchable every time. You open your mouth.
Every second.
Yeah.
All right. We've got on the list. Well, the first one that cracked me up is the Clear Space One story. This is an experimental project to try to clear up space debris, and it was gonna have its like a big test run, except that the thing that it was gonna try to clean got hit and broke, so the space debris became more debris. And now they are have to change their plans because I guess you can't debris.
Well, they were planning on a very
Yeah.
specific, center of gravity and shape, and they're like, okay, we have to redo our math a little bit, which is admirable.
Of course. But I just
Otherwise, when they fling it down, it could hit your house, Rob. Not you, Maldo.
which
though.
Rob? No, I'm
It would
fine.
never hit your
I've got
house.
a-
It would
I've got a
definitely hit
shield.
Rosamund's house.
It would for sure hit my house.
Yep.
For sure.
Yep.
As if there's a target painted on my roof by fate.
Yep.
Well,
you know?
or by your energy company.
Yeah.
Consumers
sure.
got you gone.
So I don't think you mind sharing this with our listener, but what happened after the power outage? The power company was giving free sandwiches,
Yep.
Yeah.
and the picture you
they
sent.
had hired
one.
They
food
had
truck.
hired. They had hired one food truck, and if you look like the total outage was something like 750,000 people were out of power. This whole week
Yeah.
here in
So,
Michigan. Right?
one food truck.
There are still several thousand people out of power in Michigan.
Yes, there are still a bunch of people around that don't have power.
Yeah.
In fact,
for a minute, I thought-
yesterday, consumers sent me a message saying that my power would be back on at 8:00 tonight.
Yeah, that was a threat, by the way.
Yeah. So anyway, there's 100,000 people that don't have power. They hosted a lunch to say, hey, our bad for never trimming the trees or updating our power grid at all, and just cashing your checks. So they decided to give everyone burgers and fries, hired one food truck.
Yeah.
And the wait here was 2.5 hours. I sent you the picture of the line.
Couldn't believe it.
A line of people. Well, nobody had any power. Lots of people didn't have water because I'm out in the country.
Yeah.
Almost everyone has a well here.
Yeah.
So no running water, no food, no electricity, no cell coverage.
And then you have to wait 2.5 hours for a mediocre burger
from a food truck burger.
Well, the good news is that
Thanks, consumers.
in 2018, the CEO of your energy company was paid $8 million. Of
course he was.
That's a lot of burgers.
He's doing a great job.
Yeah.
The thing you don't realize, he also owns the food truck.
Double dip.
Yeah. Also, just to put that out there, my estimated restoration time originally was Friday afternoon at 1:15 p.m.
Oh.
I've had, I'm not exactly sure, but I think I've had in the neighborhood of 220 hours without power so far this year.
And you're on DTE?
Yeah.
Where you are? Yeah.
Yeah, and he's outskirts of Ann Arbor, so I'm out in the sticks.
Yeah.
He's supposed to have good power.
Yeah.
So it's funny because, I watch a fair amount of YouTube, and the amount of promotional material from the various Jackery, EcoFlow, all these basically, hey, your utility sucks.
Yep.
That's a money-making opportunity for us, yo.
Yeah, it is.
And it's like, it's an entire area of commerce that shouldn't exist.
Right.
Because if our collective utilities were actually working.
Because we're not willing to bury our power lines.
Yes, for God's sake. Especially here in Michigan.
I get is super expensive, but maintaining the ones on a pole, it's like, isn't it cheaper to do that than to burn down Santa Rosa? Anyway, it just kills me.
Now,
or burning down Lahaina. The thing that initially sparked that brush fire was an arcing, a tree falling across the power cables. It's
Jesus,
like,
really? I
why
didn't know
didn't
that.
you police the damn area? Well, so it lit something on fire, and they said they had it contained and put out, but it didn't. It smoldered, jumped, and took out Lahaina. And it's like, have you considered trimming around your damn cables if you're not going to bury them? Which isn't always practical. I get it. But if it's not practical, then frickin' police them.
Maybe instead of paying your CEO $8 million, pay them $1 million a year. I know it's going to be rough for them, but then take that other $7 million and then cut down some trees, trim some branches.
Yeah, and the thing is, I don't have a problem with them saying, well, it's like, listen, you wanted this job, okay?
Yeah, for sure.
So you
and
wanted
here
this
in
damn
Michigan,
job, so do the damn job. You
We
know?
get a lot of snow. We get a lot of ice in the winter, and this
Yep.
happened just this past winter again,
I remember.
where people were out of power for like a week.
And it's like,
Consumers,
how many people
consumers,
die? You know?
yeah, consumers hosted a pancake breakfast for that one.
Oh, well,
So
that's good.
I
Did
think
you have
they
to
should
wait
just start
9
getting in
hours?
there.
You
Yeah.
know, I'm picturing all the old people who couldn't make
Well,
it
that
to
was the
their
thing.
car. You know?
Yeah, yeah, lots of people were trapped inside their house because
Yeah.
they couldn't get out.
Well, even
And
funnier, you know, they're saying, "Hey, you know what? We're gonna have a pancake breakfast. So just get in your cars, get on the ice and snow, and come on over." It's like,
yeah,
it's
now
almost as if it's Garrick J. Rock now has a quota of old people to kill.
to play
You know,
devil's advocate, I will give them that this storm uh, had reported winds, not of the tornadoes. There were 6 tornadoes that landed in Michigan.
Mm.
People died around here. Well, over there towards Grand Rapids, they hit winds of 100 miles an hour.
Yeah.
yeah,
At
and
Willow Run, they hit 90. That's hurricane, and
Yeah.
we don't have hurricanes in Michigan.
For
right?
sure. For sure.
So it was crazy.
But
It
good
was
news,
crazy
guys.
storm.
There's no climate change.
No, everything's fine.
Although Exxon did release a report recently saying, "Oh yeah, there's totally climate change."
Well, they did back in the 80s too.
Oh, thanks, Exxon. So the next story on the list is one that I got for Rob, but since he can't see his screen right now, I'll just tell you
Oh, I
there's.
can read it.
Oh, good. You see them.
I haven't read the story.
There's.
because
They
I can't
found a new
click.
skull, a new monkey skull.
So what's new about it?
That's what I was going to ask you.
it's made completely from cheese and sugar.
Oh.
Oh yeah,
It's not actually a skull.
that was before things were made of carbon.
yeah,
You know?
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, come on, sugar is carbon.
We evolved silicon life, then glucose life, then
Yeah.
carbon life.
That's what really killed the dinosaurs. Just rained for a couple days.
Yeah.
They all melted.
They were made of sugar. That checks out. No, they're
Yeah,
just.
there's 12 carbon in your sugar molecule.
Mm.
Remember, all food, everything we eat, everything we're made of,
Oh, it's made of
is-
carbon, hydrogen,
is
and
carbon,
nitrogen.
hydrogen, oxygen, and nitrogen. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that's
John.
John, baby, John food. You know, we're all just John. So
That's right. Well, Rob, look at that story when you have a screen again, because I'm curious what that means.
You couldn't just skim the story and figure it out.
So, okay, I
they
always
found a
ask you.
fossil, it makes them curious.
Yeah,
Look,
because
there
all
it
of
is.
these
What's new
stories
about
read
it?
the same to me, and you're the one that's like, "Oh no, we found that thing in 2007."
I got you.
And I never know that stuff because my brain doesn't keep track of that sort of thing anymore.
Yeah. I was just watching a very disappointing YouTube video that was full of misinformation about sleeper sharks this morning. Drove me
Yeah.
crazy.
So I was watching Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny last night, and the Antikythera mechanism
yeah,
is the dial.
yeah.
And I'm deeply offended
Yeah.
with that fact. That's all I'm going to say.
All right.
I mean, at best, it's an orrery. I'm very unhappy.
You're unhappy with
They chose
See,
that mechanism as their MacGuffin.
my only problem with that movie, my only real problem with that movie, that movie's flawed. But if you just cut out the whole sequence on the boat, where they like do the dive with Antonio
haven't gotten that far
Banderas,
yet. Honestly, I've been enjoying it up to this point. I'm only like a half hour in or so.
Well,
it's okay.
The first 45 minutes are fun, and the last half hour is batshit.
Yeah.
So, but the problem, I haven't watched it a second time yet, and I'm actually really looking forward to it. But I have a theory that if you just cut out the entire sequence with Antonio Banderas, it's like this 15-20 minute long scene, which is boring. If you just cut that out, I think that movie would have actually been pretty successful, except for the people who are angry about what's her butt, which
Fleabag,
yeah, and whatever, she was fine.
I really enjoyed Fleabag.
I like Fleabag a lot, and I think that actress is great.
Yeah.
I liked her in Solo.
Hell, I liked her in Solo.
Yeah.
There's a lot to like about her.
So there's just a little video of the Chandrayaan-3 rover coming down from the lunar
look at that
surface.
little fella.
But I posted that 4 days ago, so I bet by now it's already halfway
Down the ramp.
to where Kubrick filled the moon
6
lander.
feet.
Yeah.
That's a good looking little rover there, man.
All right, zoom. The next one I also shared for Rob.
That's right. It's on the South Pole. That's why it has an erect
Yeah.
solar panel.
Isn't that weird? I kind of think that's
Really
creepy.
cool.
I get that way at the South Pole too.
Yeah.
your panel sticks straight up.
My panel sticks straight up.
Yep. Got to maximize your
I
exposure
think
to the
it's the
sky.
gravity. You know, I'm
Yeah.
used to living in the northern hemisphere,
Mm.
so
It's like when you go to Australia, your erection goes the other way.
yeah, you know.
So the next one on the list was another one for Rob. But I also shared
yeah.
this. It's some new sea creature, and once again, I wanted to know from Rob: is this a
Oh,
new
it
thing?
looks like a tube worm. I
But
can't quite tell.
does that not look like an H.R. Giger
For
thing?
sure, it's very.
I don't know. I'm
alien
going
looking.
between Giger and it's kind of adorable in its own way, you know, because like it's kind of cute.
Oh, that's a sexy screenshot too. So since we're going to concern ourselves with screenshots, we should open our mouths, and then that's how
we
you
have to have really big eyes.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, there you go. That's how we do it.
So, is that a tube worm?
Or
is it?
No,
Like they're not.
It is a.
It's a cryptic sea animal known as a Promachocrinus or Antarctic feather star.
Oh, so it's a starfish.
Strawberry feather star has 20 arms branching off its central strawberry-like body.
So
it can range from purple to dark red.
Oh, I can't remember the phylum or the name for sea urchins and sea dollars and starfish.
Yeah.
Anyway, so it's one of those.
Otter food yumminess.
Yeah.
Anyway, check it out when you can see your screen again, Rob, because it's neat.
I can kind of see my screen.
Here, let me show that one. It's a little easier to see in the. What are
Mm.
you outside? Why?
He's literally on his porch.
Oh, you're on your
my deck.
That's nice.
You'd be able to see, but I couldn't see the thing to click my background off. So or shut off the McAfee ad that is covering my picture right now.
Why do you have did you not uninstall McAfee from your machine?
Of course I did.
It's like a virus.
Stop things.
There's also like an ad for McAfee you have to uninstall. Yeah. Go to add remove programs in McAfee.
It's awesome. McAfee, man, making the internet better for 30 years.
The laptop maker made what, $5 from that? It's like,
oh, you know, the laptop makers, they probably made 3 cents, but it was some CEO's bonus, so it's going to stay forever.
And then it goes right to, Consumer Energy's CEO's food truck.
That's right.
Right.
That's right. We got a story about, once again, protesters immobilizing driverless cars by putting traffic cones in front of them.
Another one.
Yeah.
Oh, well, you saw that there were climate protesters
in front of planes.
Burning Man. No.
Oh.
Holding up the Burning Man ingress traffic.
Oh.
Apparently they blocked them for hours. And then like one of the tribal cops got pissed.
Oh, is that the one that rammed him?
Oh, I don't know about that.
There's a video going around of
from Burning Man?
I don't know, but now that you said, I only saw it a couple of days ago, but it was like some cop who ran down some protesters. There you go.
There we go.
Rob's real backyard.
That's nice, man.
Yep.
No, but apparently one of the tribal cops pulled a gun on the protesters and said, "Get off the road." And they're like, we're nonviolent protesters. He's like, "I don't care. Get off the damn road."
Right.
And I guess they did, because they're like, this escalated quickly.
There's been a lot of those sorts of things lately. Protesters blocking private jets, that sort of stuff. Like,
well, that was the other thing. They wanted to stop the private jet traffic into Burning Man.
And hell's yeah, they should do that. I mean, that whole thing is so ridiculous. Now we're gonna like let billionaires come and ruin it with their jets.
Well, I mean, billionaires have been going to Burning Man since the beginning.
They can drive like everyone else.
Yeah. Well,
they take helicopters.
People bring in like Cessnas and all the rest. It's actually not a great environment to keep, because you have
it's
to
horrible.
Your engines and all the rest. It's like, I admit, I still don't know why people go to Burning Man. It sounds awful.
If they did it,
it sounds really smelly and really abrasive and sand everywhere.
If it was the sort of thing that I could drive 20 minutes and be there, and it wasn't a desert, and I didn't have to sleep out in the dirt and be in the gross, I'd love to see it. I think some of the art is awesome.
It's
also,
really a mobile home park that's set up and taken down. Once
I'm just a little put off by how awesome everyone who goes to Burning Man thinks it is.
Yeah.
And like
like I said, I got friends who go, and I really like them.
When
So
I
it's not all
worked
bad, right?
when I worked at that
I just can't picture
hackerspace,
doing it, man. I can't.
there was a kid who spent like months making his costumes. He and his girlfriend were gonna go to Burning Man. They spent like the summer coming in
Oh,
like
man.
every week and making costumes. Like, cool, that's awesome. I'm
Well,
glad that gives
Maker
you
Faire
pleasure.
in the Bay Area was basically like dry run Burning Man.
Yeah.
It was frankly pretty tedious, to be honest with you. But
They had a lot of the same stuff at some of the Detroit Maker Fairs. I love that stuff. But again, the
yeah, Maker
Burning
Faire, you
Man,
get there in 20 minutes.
right?
You don't spend 4 hours, in front of like an army of protesters who don't want you to get where you're wanting to go, so you can build your RV park in the middle of the desert.
Right. And it's 105 degrees, and you have to wear a mask so you don't breathe dust because it's so windy.
Well, this year they were
dirty.
almost flooded out because of all the rain.
Oh dear.
Right? So it's like,
all right. Well, we got another story about Xitter.
oh, good Lord, really?
This one is you'd be shocked to know that since not all professional businesses decided to pay extortion fees to Elno.
Like $1,000 a month, man. Screw that.
Yeah, so scammers have come in and squatted on lookalike names. They go and they pay for the blue tick, and then if you go and like complain about consumers' energy, then Consumer Energy Joe with a blue tick mark comes and scams you out of your personal information, and then they can ruin you. So this is great. This is definitely a win-win for Elno, for Xitter in general. Yep.
Underscore EasyJet underscore. The thing about consumers, which should have given it away, is someone was pretending to be helpful.
Yeah, right.
It's like, yeah.
It's true. So I know you've been waiting for a long time, but guys, somebody ported Linux to the Commodore 64. And the thing that made me happy about this is that it took hours for it to boot on an emulator running like at maximum speed, and the guy who was doing it was estimating that it would take about 2 weeks to boot on real hardware.
Oh goodness!
And
well,
obviously,
did he try it?
Well, who's gonna leave?
He's still trying it currently.
Yeah, right. I don't know.
Well, we could try it.
No, thank you. I'd emulate it.
So there's a thing that happens when you're building machines now, where until you install like either the proprietary NVIDIA drivers or a optimized, basically doesn't give you any of the features of the NVIDIA cards, you get like a frame a second. So you start typing, and it's so freaking frustrating. Anyway, so
technology, it's getting better.
Well, no, I mean, honestly, these things run so good, though, man. I've been building some machines for testing.
Once you let the telemetry get tracked by NVIDIA.
I kind of blew Ryan's socks off, Zen. So I built this machine, just, full on balls out, single thread performance, 13900K i9, right? So the max current it can draw is 253 watts at turbo. I was trying 251, and I was keeping it 82 Celsius. And Ryan's like, no, that's impossible. He's like, what do you have? Like a massive, cooling rig? And I'm like, nope, just a 240 AIO. And I got the contact frame on there. I probably overdid the thermal paste, but probably not, considering the performance.
Yeah, evidently not.
So yeah, so I'm maybe I should overclock this thing. It's like I'm getting kind of nervy now.
Oh yeah. All that's going to get you 2 extra frames per second, and then you'll feel like a real man.
I was testing. I was getting like 1.5 million IOPS.
Jesus.
I was doing all these stress tests, and it was just really just screaming, absolutely screaming.
Awesome.
Like, yeah.
I feel like I actually am really looking forward to building a new rig.
Baby. No virtual machines getting in the way. No Kubernetes getting in the way. Raw power.
See, I run everything in a Docker container inside of another Docker container, so everything's cool, right?
Well, I got to tell you. So this machine, if I were to rent it from any of the top tier cloud providers, would run me between $500 and $600 a month, plus, and that's not taking into account storage, ingress, or egress network. You know how much I paid for this damn thing? All in,
Well, you
$1,100.
didn't tell me what the
No
GPU
way,
is.
really?
Yes, $1,100.
What
1,100?
GPU?
Yes, no
Wow.
GPU. I
So
don't need a GPU.
that's the expensive part now.
No, it's not though. I've got GPUs lying around. Whatever.
Yeah.
When you rent the machines on cloud, you don't get a GPU.
Yeah, but also you
know?
don't care about your frames per second on what's
No,
coming out.
The game
Starfield.
servers don't need GPU.
I see. This is for your servers, not for your clients.
Right. So we have some drones that I was able to spec out for the drone streaming. I got a really great price on those, and those have had fat GPUs on them. But yeah, it's nuts, man. It's nuts.
Nuts. Oh, guys, we can get our tickets for Fyre Festival 2.
Oh,
Holy
thank
shit.
goodness.
Right out of jail and right back to
Right.
it.
Also, there's this gal named Liz who's telling me that she can test my blood. She's got a backpack. She's got a backpack.
I think she's in jail. Did she start her prison sentence?
I'm not sure.
Holmes in jail yet? She'll be released. She reported to prison on May 30th. She'll be released December 29th, 2032.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Well, anyway, the guy who did the Fyre Festival is he's doing another one. So if you want to spend $8,000 on tickets for another one,
this time it'll be great.
This time it's going to work great.
They learned from their mistakes.
Yeah, they'll have plenty of bottled water this time, so you don't
Yep.
have to do that thing you were going to have to do for bottled water.
That poor guy.
In the Caribbean. I guess we found the guy who bought Epstein's Island. But no, it's like, who is this idiot? Who's the idiots? No one's buying this, right?
Well, I don't know. Do people even pay attention anymore? Like, I'm sure half the people who would buy this ticket have no idea what he had done.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, that was like 2018.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was so long ago.
That's before COVID.
We don't remember that time.
Good Lord.
I don't remember anything that happened before COVID. All I remember is, the year where I had to wash my grocery bags.
Yeah.
You had to wash your grocery bags?
Yeah, I never did that.
For like the first week, that was something that happened in my house.
Honestly, I'm glad I didn't get COVID, because when I had COVID the second time around, holy crap, that was a bad one. Don't get the new strain. That's all I'm going to say.
All right.
Yeah, I only had it once after the lockdown was done.
I'm pretty sure I only had it once.
So bad I just napped a lot, This strain though is
it was kind of like a medium flu, except for about a month, it was all I could do to stay awake.
Yeah, wow, that lasts
really bad.
For me. I just slept like 4 days.
Yeah, I was more in the Chris thing, like 4 or 5 days of just
this
misery.
time around.
Yeah.
No bueno, man.
So there's a story which Chris and I talked about this before you got on, Rob, but it's an Arecibo update, and the headline for it is the only reason to discuss it, but it was the story is that they scanned the cables with like neutrons.
It's actually a really cool story.
Like as an engineering,
like
what do you call it? Like a post-mortem. But the headline is that a Bond villain did not cause the Arecibo telescope collapse. Like what a headline.
And they basically spend like this entire paragraph just recapping GoldenEye. It's like, what? You can be proud of this work. I mean, the neutron flow. Neutron imaging showed the zinc had literally started flowing out away from the cable, and then it caused it to break. And I'm like, that's really cool that they were able to figure that out. I mean, it was really neat. But why did you have to dress it up with some GoldenEye nonsense?
Because the only thing that matters is the thumbnail with the big text and the person's eyes bugging out and their mouth open.
Well, let me go off a little bit about
Do it, baby.
About AI bot written stories.
Oh, God, yeah.
Because in particular, in the gaming news arena, there are a lot of sort of little spun up gaming news sites that basically just run strippers for headlines, and then they have an AI bot generate the story, and they slap a name of an editor on. The one guy that I saw today was like, Jason January or something like that. And he had posted 25,000 stories, right? And I'm like,
You'd think we would have
holy
heard of
shit.
him before.
Yeah, Jason January. Holy shit.
That's
You're prolific.
prolific. That took you 10 years to get that many stories, Rob.
But you read it and it's just absolute nonsense. It is just garbled. Factually, it's incorrect. It's just everything about it is just. I will go through and try to find it after this and send it to you guys. Actually, it was linked on our.
Yeah, it was the Lahaina thing, right?
No.
Oh, I thought it was
maybe.
I thought it was the one about the fire and mixed in stuff with the game.
I don't remember the one I read being that, but perhaps it was that. They just factually got everything wrong. They called the game the wrong thing. They, it is obviously written by a machine and has no value whatsoever. The words, and yeah, that unfortunately I think is going to be the way of things.
I think it's even worse than that because I think that the bots are inevitably going to start learning from the bots, and then nothing is going to be true anywhere ever again.
So I went to go basically create an article like this in OpenAI, and Cloudflare is blocking my access to OpenAI now from this IP address.
They knew what you were going to do.
Okay, I'll go to my other one. This is so dumb. It's infuriating.
Yeah. I don't know, man. Like all of this stuff is like, it reminds me so much of 2002, 2003, when the blogosphere was just like had kind of found its footing and was doing its thing. And there were so many websites that were just rewriting paragraphs, like a shitty rewrite of a paragraph of everybody else's article.
But I mean, even that a person did it at least.
Right. But I remember
it's coherent.
I remember sitting back. Well, not always, but I just remember sitting there. And it's like a game
way more coherent than this.
Sure, but it was like a game of telephone, right? Like every whisper, it gets a little worse. And this is just like the next. It's just 700 whispers further down the chain. And I just remember thinking back then, it's like, oh, this is bad, and this is gonna be worse. I guess I don't know that I knew that it would be AI, but I knew that people would make it worse. So you definitely would see that, like the link to the link to the link, and you'd have to click 3 times to find the original source article. Ugh.
Well, and even then, it was hard to figure out at the end what the original was.
Yep. And that's without having, billion GPUs churning out text faster than a million monkeys could dream of.
Oh no, it's not just me; it's everybody.
Yeah.
So, ChatGPT web and mobile UIs are unavailable.
Do we have any media worth watching? Oh, I wanted to mention one. I watched last night the Meg 2, Meg to the Trench.
Oh.
Was it great? Was it fantastic? Did he punch the Meg again?
All right. I don't want to spoil it too much for you, because it's got it's really a really clever plot. So the things from the first movie that I like, Jason Statham.
This is one of the biggest movies in China.
It's
in
huge.
History.
It's huge.
Apparently, like the Chinese, there's something about the Meg or Jason Statham. They're crazy about it.
So Jason Statham is great, and they amped him up. Like he's more Jason Statham in this movie than he was in the first one.
My complaint about him usually is that he's too low key.
He's subtle.
Yeah, like his performance in Crank. Or its sequel.
So
I could just get a little more out of him.
He's more. The little girl that was like the daughter that was so charming in the first movie is just as charming and awesome in this movie once again. The opening action sequence is super fun, but like ludicrous. The entire middle third of the movie theoretically takes place at like 20,000 feet and like below water. And I had a really it's so dumb with its treatment of water pressure. He swims, guys.
What?
But don't worry.
At least have a wetsuit on, to keep the parts contained in the wetsuit once he's crushed.
Yeah. So that part, actively, it was so frustrating to me. I ultimately fell asleep, and then had to rewatch part of it. But then the last third, is very similar to the first movie, where the Meg has to come and torment a beach of rich people.
Well, I mean, it's
So-
the law,
Is there another creature besides the Meg?
So that's kind of what I don't want to
Shut up,
spoil
Meg.
too much. But let's just say,
Meg.
let's
Shut
just
up,
say,
Meg.
oh, I must have made that joke 300 times while Kat and I watched this last night.
I bet you enjoyed it each time.
Every single time.
time.
Let's just say at one point it basically becomes a kaiju movie.
That
Well,
is
yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, the first one though, he encounters a giant ammonite, a giant ancient squid
Nice.
that it chews in half, right? So there was another monster, and I guess there were technically 2 Megs in the first.
Yeah. And this one has Meglings.
Nice.
Shut up, Megling.
Shut up, Meg. Yeah. Anyway, the last half hour of this movie is just bonkers, and I had a tremendous amount of fun with it. But I'm not going to tell you it's good. It's absolutely garbage.
Oh yeah, but it's a giant monster movie,
Yeah.
so I will have to see it.
For sure.
So if this was Amy Smart from Crank, that would make it perfect.
Mm.
Like if Amy Smart
As the
basically
Meg?
ends up no.
Shut up, Amy.
No.
If Amy Smart has to be in every
Oh,
Jason
I
Statham
gotcha.
movie.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I think that I would sign on to that rule.
I would
Alright.
too. Any other media? Did either of you watch Ahsoka yet?
Don't care.
No.
Oh.
I did watch the Spider-Verse finally,
Oh, good.
and Guardians of the Galaxy 3.
Oh,
That's nice. I haven't watched Spider-Verse yet, but I watched the After Party.
I
We
just
basically completely binge watched it. It was so much fun.
I watched the very first episode of After Party, and like I love
Not your
what
cup
they're.
of tea, or
What's that?
it's not your cup of tea. Or something?
No, like last night at 10:45, I watched the first episode, and
So
we were laughing because we were like, this kind of fills that poker face kind of space. But the thing about how each character is telling their story within the context of a different trope film.
very Rashomon.
Well, not just Rashomon, but like the first story like had like a brief segment into the art house film, and then another segment into the straight up rom-com. And like all the tropes of each genre being played with, and you guys know me in Community. That's my thing about Community, is playing with the tropes of each. Like whenever they would do like a reference kind of episode, I love that meta stuff, and I'm so looking forward to the rest of it. We finished season 1 of Killing It, and I really enjoyed that. But it's not like an A+ show. It's just a good.
No.
It's just
the pig.
Yeah.
In that last episode.
Shut up, pig!
That is such a funny gag.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to
It
that.
had me laughing.
I enjoyed that
almost on
tremendously.
the floor. It was really funny.
We just started season 2, and season 2 looks like it's going to be even more bonkers.
Of Killing It, or
Yeah, of Killing It.
Mhm.
Last night was the second half of the Meg 2, and the season 1 premieres of Killing It, or season 2 of Killing It, and season 1 of After Party. That was what I watched last night. Is there any other media?
Not that I can think of.
All right.
Justified is wrapping up, I think, tonight. Boy, it's good.
Episode 3 of Ahsoka is tonight, but neither of you guys are invested enough in your childhood to continue to push forward on
Or-
that one.
Or
I just don't
perhaps
feel
I
like
just didn't have electricity.
Yeah. Also that.
Oh, look. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all happening for you, Rob. Sorry, man. All right, let's say goodbye to the internet. Fare thee well, Rob Roseboom.
Goodbye.
And to you, Chris DeBona.
Goodbye.
That episode 802, Rob, Geeks in Space, Taco, Malda, Commander Taco. That was episode 802 of Geeks in Space. I'm Rob, Commander Taco, Malda. And, sorry. And we'll see you later. Bye.